Inventory counts are done regularly but infrequently to ensure that actual inventory quantities match the values stored in the data. Spire helps make this process efficient by allowing counts to be performed with a barcode reader or by entering counts manually, and then posted to update quantities on hand and accounting amounts. One way to start creating a count transaction for one or more inventory items is to select them from the inventory module grid, perhaps with the use of a search process or a filter to locate the required items. Highlight the items of interest, then click the Count button to load these items into a new inventory count transaction. The other way to create a count is from the Inventory top menu and the Inventory Counts selection. This brings up a list of previously saved counts, whether they have been previously posted or are still in progress. From here, the plus toolbar button can be clicked to open the count transaction window, and items can be added here. You could do this either individually from the Add button, or more likely as a group using the Freeze Inventory button. Note that the use of the Freeze Inventory process is only for item selection for this count, and will not prevent items from being edited or chosen and posted on transactions. Each method will allow you to create the same count. Which method you choose will depend on what you think will be faster, either locating the items in the inventory grid or manually entering them. And the number of items to count will also be a factor. Because kitted items are not physically stocked, they cannot be selected for counts. Only the components are countable. Attempting to select a kitted item for a count will give an error message. All selected items will be grouped together within this count in the grid below, with each item having a red dot indicator to identify that counted quantities are 0, unless there is 0 on hand for this item. The next count number from company settings is displayed here to identify the item group, and start and finish dates for reports. If your company uses location segments for ledger account numbers, you may choose to select a location to direct the posted values to location-specific accounts if they exist. There are two ways you can enter counted quantity values, either manually or by scanning barcodes. If you are manually counting items, you'll want to print a report that lists all items on a count sheet, perhaps separated by warehouse if more than one is represented, so that quantities can be counted and written down for entry. Then you can click the Manual Count button, and in the new grid that appears, enter the counted quantity for each item. By default, each item is in the stocking unit of measure, but if the item supports alternate units, you can select a different unit on which to base the count, and calculate the stock quantity. If you have user security access to view count variants, you have the ability to click the Match Expected Quantity button to pre-fill the counted quantities with expected values, if you know that very few items differ in count quantity, and you can enter the exceptions. The same user setting also controls the visibility of the expected quantity, unit variance, and gain-loss columns on the main grid, to ensure that you are not just copying the expected quantity and ignoring the counts. When all the counts are entered and they are confirmed, the item list values are updated. Counted quantities that match what is expected will be reflected by a green dot, and non-matching amounts with an orange dot. Items with no quantity counted continue to have a red dot. The counted quantity of any item can be expanded to show when the count was entered and by whom, and you can also expand all items to show everything, and collapse all to hide these rows. It is possible to use manual count multiple times, perhaps for separate counts at different times, by different users, or using varying units of measure, so that all counts add up to the final counted quantities. The other way to add or enter counted items is by scanning barcodes such as UPC codes. Click the Scan Items button to activate the process, and scan the barcode to increment the counted quantity of the associated item by 1. Not only does this include items already added to this list, but also allows adding new items that haven't yet been added. If you want to only scan the item barcode once, you can also use a multiplier to indicate the quantity. And when the barcode is scanned, the counted quantity is incremented by that value. Expanding an item counted by scanning shows that each scan is logged as a separate count. So for larger quantities, it likely is more efficient to use the multiplier. For items that support either serial numbers or lot numbers, you can also determine the on-hand quantity through these identifications. Click the Count Serials button to open the list of available numbers for this item, where you can select or enter the counted quantity, even to restore a number currently indicated as not on hand. After quantities are entered and saved, expanding the item shows each number saved on a separate count line. However quantities are counted, total unit variance and gain-loss are displayed at the bottom of the screen to indicate overall amounts for accounting. While working on an inventory count, you can save your progress, rather than have to enter the quantities and post all at once. While an active count is in progress, there is no prevention of posting sales or purchase orders, and doing so will not affect the expected quantity here. For this reason, you should not add or remove the physical items involved in the count, as this would disrupt accurate counting and possibly cause an incorrect quantity adjustment to be posted. If you need to investigate anything about a particular item from this count, you can click the Open Inventory button to open this record. Perhaps there is an unexpected variance, and you can open either the Movement tab or another tab to see if this item has been included on a transaction. If where you store this inventory item is changed, as indicated by the warehouse location value, this can be updated from the count. On either the main count list or the manual count screen, the warehouse location value is editable for any item. If you edit this value, it will be written back to the item when the count is posted. And to ensure that all information has been entered correctly, you can print a report with the counted values. The Inventory Count Review Report lists all items selected for this count, or the Inventory Variance Report can be printed to list just those where the counted quantity is different than expected. For larger counts, this is interesting to potentially identify mistakes before they are posted, in case a recount is needed for any items. When the count is complete, click the Post button to commit the changes. Enter the transaction date to be used for accounting, which may not be today but rather a month-end or year-end date. For items with quantity differences, they are accounted for similarly to adjustments. Posted counts will have the net inventory increase or decrease amount update the inventory control ledger accounts from the items with account variance, and the balancing account will be the inventory variance account defined in company settings. Even after posting, the inventory count is available to inquire on, and print the report with transaction details, grouped by inventory control account if more than one was represented in the count. You can also inquire about counts when editing an inventory item record and looking at either the Movement or Receipts tabs, including using the Open Related button to view the posted count transaction. Also, after a count is posted, the last count date, count quantity, and count variance values are saved with each item and can be displayed as columns on the inventory list grid. This is useful for determining not only which items have been counted and when, but also for planning which groups of items have not yet been counted and are due to be counted in the future. If you would like more information about Spire accounting, access the link in the description below to our homepage. Read the online manual help for additional assistance. Watch more videos from this playlist, and subscribe to the Spire YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.